up, Battle Bones!
The collector case that carries more than warriors, more than weapons.
Hey guys, hope everyone's having a great weekend. And today, I'm going to be taking a look at the Mega Contrux San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for 2019, the Masters of the Universe Battle Bones, which is fitting since I just looked at Battle Beasts yesterday. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. I remember back in the 80s, let's see, 87 springs to mind since I just looked at the Battle Beasts. Going to the toy store and seeing a bunch of different toy lines and just wishing I could get things like Visionaries and Battle Beasts, Army Ants, all those different new toy lines, as well as some of the existing ones, Transformers and G.I. Joe. And there just not being enough money. And history is kind of repeating because I really love these Mega Contrux Masters of the Universe toys. I only own one though, or I did. This Mega Contrux He-Man, which I looked at a few months back, and I was so impressed with this little guy. He's got such awesome articulation. He's got a great amount of detail, removable parts. Very similar to the original He-Man, but lots more articulation. So I've been seeing a whole bunch of new Mega Contrux Masters of the Universe stuff coming out, and some of that stuff you can actually find on Big Bad Toy Store. They've got a colossal Mega Contrux Grayskull there, at least colossal to these guys, and a Wind Raider and a 5-pack. So if you do get your hands on one of these Battle Bones, you can fill them up with some of those figures that are on Big Bad Toy Store. So this is one that I thought would be really awesome to have, even though I only have the one figure. And Mega Contrux was nice enough to send this to me. So this review is courtesy of them and their generosity. And another cool thing about this particular set is that it actually includes a couple of Mega Contrux figures in it, because my first thought when I saw this thing, much like the 85 Masters of the Universe original Battle Bones, was, well, are you going to have enough figures to put in it? Kind of like the Joe APC. No one really wants a big empty carrying case, so that's just great that they included a couple of figures in here. There's a Faker, one of my favorites, Mossman. He's actually fuzzy. A little hole there so you can stick your finger in there and rub the flocked part of Mossman. And there's also Attila and Man-at-Arms included as well. Man-at-Arms is the non-mustached version, so the non-Movember version. And there's also some custom artwork on the front, reminiscent of the original Masters of the Universe art, but Mega Construxized. And some more, love that vintage exploding red rock artwork that they're reusing on this stuff. And then on the back, this is also very vintage Masters of the Universe style artwork. Really captures the 80s feel. And then it shows off one of the features of the Battle Bones. The mouth opens. And this is really cool too. 20 accessories included. So you get some axes, swords, a whole bunch of gear, which can be carried in the Battle Bones mouth. And this is also really cool. The original Mossman was well known for having a fresh pine scent, and so they've included a pine air freshener with this one too, and shows off its actual functionality. It is a carrying case with loops for you to grip it, and you can put your figures in there. So it holds 8 figures. So with the 4 included and the one I have, that means I only need to get 3 more of them to fill it up. But in the meantime, I might be able to find a few figures around the 80s Toy Museum to fill up this Battle Bones. Alright, let's pop this box open. It opens on the side over here. And let's see here. We can pull the figures out. Guess we'll take a look at them first. And this particular faker that's included with this set has some really some exposed robotic parts on him, which I think is cool. It makes him look less like a straight up easy blue repaint of He-Man, and makes him look more like what he is, a robot, an evil robot version of He-Man. And for the younger viewers who are curious what a robot is, that's how you used to pronounce robot in the 80s. Just pop in an old episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and every time He-Man sees a robot, he always says, "It's a robot!" And he's got a little loop on the back here for a sword. So it is amazing to me, the functionality of these little guys. Just like, well, this one doesn't actually. The He-Man doesn't have a loop on the back. He's got a hole if you want to put a shield in there, but this one does, to hold a sword. And he's also got a little faker sticker on his chest. Man, they just always go all out with the detail. And his head has some metallic paint on it to give him that kind of Terminator, half his face is torn off look to him. So that's Faker. And next up is Mossy, the fuzzy one. Man, that's so cool. Looks like he's got removable bracelets on his wrists. And this part of the arm isn't actually flocked. So for anyone worrying that the bracelets would rub the flocking off, they won't. Oops, pop that right off. And we can pop it right back on. So the actual parts that are flocked are the thighs, the upper halves of the legs, upper parts of the legs, his back, his front, his head. Yes, his ears are flocked. This is apparently a thing with Mossman, to flock or not to flock the ears. So this particular one has flocked ears, and he looks as cool as any other Mossman. It's like really fine flocking too. Just to flock them at this scale, it's a lot finer, fuzzier, softer flocking. And then there's Man-at-Arms. Really cool to finally have this guy in the collection. And got kind of the Lego hands for gripping weapons. He's got a shoulder piece of armor, and he's got one on his leg, but that's molded onto the foot. And I believe this is removable too. This, yeah. Oh, cool. The helmet comes off. You don't actually have to pop the head off, I don't think. You could just pull this armor up and over. I don't feel like doing that right now because I prefer Man-at-Arms with his armor on, but that's another cool figure. And then Teela, the adopted daughter of Man-at-Arms, complete with her snake headdress, which comes off very easily. And this one has brown hair rather than the regular. Teela's hair is usually like a reddish brown or a red. So you can put on the vintage style original snake headdress, and whoops, that popped her head right off. But they're on there pretty secure. It takes quite a bit of force to pull that off. Ah, that works better. You have to put the chin part in first. Really nice gold applications. I'm just mesmerized by the detail and the quality of these little figures. I haven't even looked at the battle bones yet. These are so cool. Okay, so that's the minifigures. Now let's take a look at the carrying case for them. Okay, so let's see what we got in here. This part looks like it's glued in. Whoa, what is this thing? These look like Lego bits. And there's a really nice pamphlet in here. And we're reminded of the air freshener that's included. This is really cool. Nice long pamphlet with all sorts of instructions on how to assemble the battle bones. Oh, this is very interesting. This looks like you have to put this thing together from scratch. This is like a Lego project. Wow. That is quite an involved process. I thought this was just going to be open it up and it's ready to go, but there is quite a bit of stuff to do here. Look at that. This reminds me of those big Lego projects like the Lego Falcon and Lego Harry Potter playsets. Wow. Looks like a really fun, involved project. And then there's the air freshener too. Oh, and look at the other Mega Contrux accessories. Castle Grayskull, the Wind Raider, some of the other figures. Let's see here, and inside is... Gonna have to open it from the other side. And on the other side is where we got all the parts. And I am looking for that, yes, that air freshener, which is in this bag right here. String part of the Mega Contrux. This is so cool. Look at that, the air freshener. I gotta open this up and smell it. Need to find out. Oh, and the smell hit me as soon as I opened this thing up. Can you smell it? I'm gonna give it a sniff. Ah, that is awesome. Whew. That's really nice. It's actually like a combination of pine sol, and I'd say like aftershave. Yeah, or like deodorant or something like that. It's quite manly. It's very nice. I like that. That's cool. And there are so many parts here. Oh man. Wow. It's very interesting. Like, is this a mystery bag? I'm not at all familiar with Mega Contrux, so I have no idea what to expect in something like this. Okay, so these are 2 orange pieces. Wasn't sure if that was like a mystery bag or something. These look like teeth. And now this is the accessory bag for the figures. So let's open this up. You don't need the power of Grayskull to open these bags up, but it might help. So some of these pieces here, let's see. This looks like it goes with Tila, and just from looking at the artwork on the back, this is another thing that really takes me back. Used to be able to figure out what goes where just by looking at the box. So we'll start by putting Tila together, and there were 4 of these, bases included, which you can attach the figures to. They've got these little holes on the bottoms of their feet, so you can plug them in. They stand pretty well on their own, but it's nice just to have a little bit of reinforcement. And Tila's staff connects. Either end really works. Pop the staff in the hand, and then the shield, just like He-Man's shield, comes in these two separate parts, which allows her to hold it. And there's the first figure, fully equipped. And Mossman comes with his club, and that just pops into his hand too, nice and secure. And we can give old Mossy a stand as well. They're nice enough on their own, but when you give them a little accessory, it makes them look even better. And then Man-at-Arms, who includes his standard mace. And we pop that in his hand. Pop him on the base. And Man-at-Arms is a user of both medieval weapons as well as things like ray guns, blasters. So the set comes with quite a few extra weapons, and you can equip him with blasters. He's also got pegs on his back, which I wonder, so the back does have these little pegs that look like they're the right size for this gun right here. Yeah, that does fit. This one as well has the same type of thing, so you can stick two blasters on his back, just as long as they're not, I guess they sort of bump into each other, but if you point one up and one down, then he can carry gear on his back, which gives him a free hand for a big gun. That's Man-at-Arms. And then the last one is Faker, who includes the same color as his harness. Now, in the original figure, he had an orange harness and sword. This time they've given him a pink harness and a pink sword. And he also comes with He-Man's axe, matching his harness. So that's cool. And if you want, like I said earlier, you can store the power sword, or the fake power sword, in his back harness. So that's really cool to have a little mini Mega Contrux Faker to go along with my Mega Contrux He-Man. And if you're not a fan of that much pink on a guy who is supposed to be a dastardly villain, they've also included all of those accessories in blue, and there's actually a blue shield as well. So if you want them all decked out to look just like your He-Man, you can give him the shield, give him an axe, and then have the sword in his back harness. That looks pretty cool too. The blue goes nice with his flesh tone, synthetic flesh tone. And there's quite a few more weapons and accessories. There are stabs. There's a really nice power sword in like a gold plastic type of color. That looks really nice. And some more familiar weapons and accessories for longtime fans. I remember this sword. Now it's just miniaturized. Zodak's blaster, also Cobra Khan's blaster. And there are also these shorter stabs, which you could connect to like this spear if you wanted a shorter weapon, or maybe if you don't want Tila's snake staff being quite so long. They're different colors, but you could just attach. That's the whole point of Mega Contrux. Mix and match. Change it up to whatever you please. Okay, so through the magic of editing and a lot of help from Luana, the Battle Bones from Mega Contrux is finished. And this took quite some time. But it was a fun project. My wife and I enjoy doing puzzles from time to time, and that's exactly what this guy was. He was a really epic puzzle, very similar to those newer modern Lego sets that have tons of intricate pieces, and it was fun. It was really interesting. It was like a treasure hunt, going through all the different piles and finding all the different pieces that are required. There's some really, really amazing engineering going on here. Like every single tooth is articulated. You can flip them up, flip them out. The teeth all come out. Is it just me, or are the teeth just slightly darker, like off cream colored than the rest? Maybe it's just my imagination, but if they are in fact a little darker, then that's some really amazing attention to detail. Got black pieces in there, and everything fits together so well and so securely. It really is like Lego. You get satisfying snaps whenever you punch the pieces together. He's articulated like crazy. This front piece can move around, and then there's a connector right here that can move up and down, and then the back piece, so you can have him sort of turning around. The mouth opens very wide, and then the legs have quite a bit of articulation too, with articulated individual claws. Really, really impressed with how this guy looks. He's got so much more going on than the original 85 Battle Bones, which was just mainly a carrying case. And this guy does function as a carrying case for your Mega Contrux figures as well. So he's got two little loops. I just love futzing with him. He's incredible. There's just so much stuff to do here, like on all fronts. And then when pieces pop out like this, he's got a cavity. They're so easily popped back in. It's not a big deal at all. So we're gonna pop a few of the figures onto here now, just to show you how easy it is. The original Battle Bones had these, well, similar to this, these kind of gripper hooks that you would put the figures in, and unfortunately those broke a lot. A lot of the Battle Bones I see these days have broken hooks, claws. This is designed a lot better in my opinion. The Mega Contrux figures have little holes in their backs, so you can just pop the peg into the hole, push it in securely. So I guess the only danger here is that you're breaking the peg off, but you can pop the figure in there and they're held really securely. So how about we put the good guys on one side and the villains on the other. Got old He-Man. Pop He-Man on there. That's so cool. If you have a whole bunch of these Mega Contrux figures, it's a really fantastic way to display them. I have Tila back here. Don't don't seem to be having any issues with popping these guys on. The tolerances are perfect. So for Man-at-Arms, we're going to have to remove these weapons off of his back so that we can pop him into one of these pegs. And he's in there secure. Yeah, they're held real nice. And Mossman, Popple Mossy back there. We've got a bunch of heroes on one side, but I don't have any other of Skeletor's evil forces to add on this side. So, luckily, I've got some battle beasts for the battle bones, and they don't clip in all that well, but they actually they do fit in there quite nicely. You can, but we flip this guy around so we can see his face. That's not bad at all. So they are held sort of in place here. Let's see. Don't want to break the arms off of these awesome little guys. Some of them have nice loose arms, and some of them don't. So let's see. Pop this guy in here. And there we go. Battle bones, hauling some battle beasts. And those aren't the only obscure 80s little miniature figures that this guy can carry. You can also fit in some army ants. Pop a few of these guys in here. It's actually surprising how securely these guys are held. I mean, they're not even designed. So Battle Bones is a great carrying case, not just for your Mega Contrux figures, but for any miniature PVC or any other type of material figure. That looks really cool. My wife has quite a bit of army ants, so it might actually be really fun to deck out on the Battle Bones completely with army ants. Orange army on one side and blue on the other side. But wait, there's more. The head, which I wanted to show off the articulation here. This is so awesome. The head can move up and down, and also the jaw moves up and down. So if you have a bunch of extra weapons like the ones that were included with the set, you can just actually throw them in there. So you don't have to worry about losing all these little pieces. Just pop them all in, the guns, the swords. You can try to organize them nice or just have them all messy like in there, but that's another little cool little feature for the Battle Bones, that it can not only carry your figures, but it can carry all of the extra accessories and look really cool doing it too. And they even went the extra mile with the air freshener, which has this little Mega Contrux piece that it attaches to and a little string so you can hang it from your car or from your own toy museum. Keep everything smelling pine fresh. So this is such an awesome set. Big thank you to Mega Contrux for this. It is so cool to have the finished product sitting there on display. I'm looking forward to getting a few more of these guys and just filling the Battle Bones up with Mega Contrux He-Man figures. But it's not just about the final product. Putting it together was really fun. It really was. It might not seem like it when you start out, because there is quite a few steps, almost 50 steps, and a lot of pieces and a lot of hunting. But when it was all said and done, I had fun. I asked my wife, "Did you have fun?" And she said, "Yeah, it was a puzzle." And even more fun than a puzzle, because when you're done a puzzle, you get a pretty cool picture But when you're done in Mega Contrux, big playset or beast or vehicle, you get something that you can futz around with, play around with it, and that's a win-win. So I really like the design of this, the engineering of it. It's really fun to just mess around with. There's so much articulation here. The tail, several points of articulations. It's a skeleton, so there's not going to be much impeding its posability. It's such a huge improvement over the original Battle Bones. And if you are like me and you enjoy futzing, you will be endlessly futzing with this thing, just playing with all of the different things that you can move on it, or tightening little pieces. The pieces all fit great together, but if you're a real detail guy, you'll be constantly just securing things, making sure everything is nice and tight and fit together. Man, really impressed with that. That is awesome. Big shout out to the Patreon tribe. And if you're in a position to support the channel, you can visit patreon.com/MichaelMercy. And there are a number of different ranks that you can choose from $1 all the way up to $20 or more if you're so inclined. All sorts of extras and rewards offered there. We're past 50 Patreon exclusives now. And you can also take part in things like Patreon roundtables, voting polls, and Patreon special missions requests. Feel free to leave a comment below, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Nerdmaste.